Hey friends, welcome to Still I Think. Today's episode is a little bit different because it's my first one in English for my non Arab friends. I've been recording the past episode in Arabic Egyptian dialect because it's my native language, and you know what, it's like my safe comfort zone kind of thing. But because today's episode is about comfort zone, I thought I'd challenge myself and do it in English. So yeah, we're linking it to the episode, and it's also for my English friends who've been shouting at me, or like foreign friends who don't speak Arabic. There's this one person specifically who has been shouting at me for not having English episodes, so I hope you're happy now. Um, so grab a coffee or a snack and let's chat. My tea is so cold right now. I've been like sitting here for like an hour thinking about this episode because I've recorded it before. In the car, I had like a moment of stillness. I was thinking about this topic and I've been thinking about it for like a month. So I recorded it in the car. It was very spontaneous. The audio was okay, but I didn't have a good closure. Like I didn't finish the video properly and I was distracted, so I thought, you know what, that's not a very good episode to publish. So I'm redoing it now, and I hope that this podcast is useful for you in any way. Before we get into the topic, I just want to like tell you why I wanted to do this podcast and why it has been a dream for like so many years for me. I spoke about this in my first episode, but it was in Arabic, so I'm gonna say it again. So if you've been listening to my podcasts in Arabic, you can skip. That's alright. It's just more about me and about why I started this podcast and why it's a very important thing for me. I've dreamed about starting a podcast since 2020 or 21. So it's been a while now, like four or 5 years maybe. I've been thinking about it even before that because I used to do YouTube videos before, and some of them were about like self-help, self-development and stuff like that. But because like we grow, we regret things and we change. I was just a teenager and most of the information I got was from books more than experience. And also another thing, I wore the headscarf, so like I wanted to delete all the old videos. And I'm glad I did because not all of them were good, but it's fine, that's part of growth. So Still I Think is about finding moments of stillness and moments where I want to reflect on things I'm experiencing or things I've been thinking about for a while. Today, we're talking about comfort zones, safe zones, and why staying in either for too long can actually hold us back instead of push us forward. I invite you to reflect with me as well, so if you journal or if you have any notebook or a piece of paper next to you, just get it and write any thoughts that come to your mind while I'm talking. I'm gonna start by defining the different zones. These are my own definitions. So for me, a comfort zone is where everything feels easy and familiar. It's like our cozy blanket. We know what to expect, we're not stressed, and we're probably not being challenged at all. We're just being very comfy, very cozy. We're happy. We know nothing unexpected will happen. Safe zone, on the other hand, is more like protection. It's like where we feel secure, but sometimes it can keep us stuck if we're afraid to take risks. For example, if you are in a job that you've outgrown, it no longer fulfills you, but you just don't want to leave because it feels safe. Even if it's draining, it's not fulfilling what you want to achieve. It feels safe. It's a safe space. It's a safe zone. Or friendships that feel like a safe zone but are actually not good for you. Some of them could be good and some of them could not be good because they drain you or they make you feel like you're not being pushed forward, these friendships are not very good for you because they're very draining for you, yet they feel very safe. I want you to pause here and think about an area in your life where you might be too comfortable or too safe. What's the first thing that comes to your mind? For me, one of the biggest things was travel. So if you don't know, I was born in Egypt. I lived there for like 15 years, and then I moved to the UK with my family. So that's like my safe zone. My family is my safe zone. Yet I didn't travel alone or with friends until a certain age because I felt like I'm already in a different country with my family. Like, why would I want to travel, and explore different places alone if I can do it with my family, because they're providing that safety net for me. But recently, this year, I went to France to visit my friend, and I went alone without a family member. Usually, like, when I travel alone, like on the plane, that's not the problem, but like traveling alone as in being in a new place without my family, that was like a big move or shift for me. Because usually when I travel alone, I either go home, which is Egypt, or to my other home, which is the UK. So like I'm going to a family member, or I'm going home here in the UK, if that makes sense. So why is discomfort necessary? Why is it important to break from this bubble or push yourself outside that bubble or your safety zone or your comfort zone? I think, again, this is my opinion, that we're not going to achieve anything we want to achieve, whether it's a goal or a dream, or something you've been working towards, except if you break out of your comfort zone or safety zone. If you do things that you don't want to do and you didn't expect yourself to do before, and do things that might be very scary and very overwhelming, can actually lead to good results. So I used to be a very shy person, especially before university. I'm now in my third year. Before uni, I was such a shy person. I wasn't very confident. I wasn't outspoken. But since I got to uni, I promised myself that I'll do things that push me outside of my comfort zone. I didn't say it that way, but like I thought, I'll start doing different things, and that's how I slowly started to come out of my comfort zone and my safety zone. So how did I do that? I started a scheme that we have in my university, which is being a student rep. So you represent your university course, and your year group cohorts have any problems, you go and feed them back to your staff in meetings that were quite scary. I was very, very anxious when I went to these meetings. So the meetings that I had as a student rep were very, very scary. I was very anxious to go in because it had all of the important people and all of the stuff from small to big, as in importance in the school. Everyone is important, of course, but you have different levels or different roles and people who work in different things. So I was very anxious, yet I thought, you know what, I'll try to finish first year of doing this. And then by the end of the first year, we had a problem that happened, and I was like, I'm very scared and I don't want to do this anymore. And I spoke with one of my lecturers about this. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna continue doing this because it's too much. I'm doing things I never expected myself to do, and I'm not usually a person who goes and speaks about negative things to others or feedback negative comments to lecturers and stuff. Usually I'm the person who just sees everything as there's a reason behind how everything is working, so I would never go and complain or anything. So for me to do that as a student rep, I have to represent the student voice, and I had to give some negative feedback, and I was actually that is very scary and it's not me at all. Yet after the first year ended, I was okay, I was thinking about whether I'm going to continue doing this or not. And I thought, you know what, I became so much more confident by the end of first year. I became outspoken. I can go to these meetings without being as scared as I used to be or as anxious as I used to be. It really changed me, like this whole experience coming out of my bubble. Like, yes, it did feel scary and I was very anxious, but looking back, this is where growth happened. It kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone in ways that I could have never imagined. It stretched me in ways that comfort could have never done it. I want you to start, and when I say like tips to you, I'm saying it to myself as well. I'm not like advising you in any way. I'm not perfect in any way. I'm just saying advice that I've realized that I need to do and I'm starting to do and I'm working on myself, and I'm not perfect in any way. I don't perfect any of the things I say, but it's what I need to do, and maybe you need to do it as well. It's just a small advice. If you want to try and do it, hopefully it helps you. But it did help me, so I really hope it does help you. I want you to start normalizing discomfort. Discomfort is not failure. It's actually a sign that we're growing. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is it is important to have kind of like rituals or something that grounds you and makes you feel safe. Comfort is not an enemy. Like, yes, we need comfort and we need discomfort as well. We need to have rituals in our life. We need hobbies, we need grounding activities, things that make us feel safe, especially when we're stretching ourselves out of our comfort zone. Think of it like this. If growth happens in discomfort, then rest and rituals are what give us the energy to keep going. So if you keep stretching yourself out of your comfort zone, you need something to give you the energy to keep stretching this. So, for example, the student trip thing. During this time, I was like very anxious, very overwhelmed, like etc. etc. So I did something on the other hand that helped me go through this growth or this discomfort, which was sport. So for me, doing any kind of sport, even if it's like gym, yoga, Pilates, stretching, running, walking, anything like that, does ground me a lot, especially if I feel very overwhelmed or very like anxious or worried, especially that we had like exams and like not exams, like projects and stuff to hand in, and I was doing this like role as well, so I was very like overwhelmed, scared and stuff. So doing something that balances this discomfort with comfort, like sports, for me was very important. For you, it could be like morning rituals, so having your cup of tea or your coffee or your matcha. Maybe it's journaling, maybe it's walking, maybe it's running, maybe it's creative hobbies like reading, painting, playing music, cooking, something much more simple. Oh my god. Why are dads very loud? That's what the podcast is about. It's moments of stillness, but like life happens. There's like noise everywhere, especially if you don't live alone. Maybe it's a much more simple grounding activity like lighting a candle. Maybe it's stretching, maybe it's breathing, maybe it's praying, maybe it's reading like your Quran, maybe it's your Bible. Whatever it is, like just doing something that grounds you and makes you feel comfortable. It's not a waste of time to do the small acts of grounding. They are what anchor us when things feel overwhelming. Without them, we will burn out. So the goal isn't to live in discomfort all the time. It's to have that balance between stretching and grounding, a safe base we can always return to. So let's think of it that way. Comfort is fuel, while discomfort is growth. Okay, since I spoke about personal experience and a story of mine, I'm gonna share some practical tips. These tips could help you. Maybe you've tried them before, maybe they don't work. So I'm gonna share them with you. Some of them work like short term, some of them work long term. Sometimes you need to take a break and do them again. So first thing is to set mini goals. Nothing big, nothing huge or like overwhelming, just a mini goal, something daily or weekly, a small challenge, maybe every day or every week or every month, depending on what you want to grow in. So for example, for me, I want to be more consistent with running. Running for me is not a very comfortable thing. It's not a grounding exercise. It's actually a discomfort one. It's a challenge for me. So for me, I'm like setting a small goal with running. Maybe it's a weekly run for me, like at least running once a week. Another thing is to start small, just taking tiny actions outside of my routine. So trying a new class. Tip number 3 is reframing what failure is. So, what can this teach me instead of what if I mess up? So, always take failures or little moments of doubt as a lesson instead of thinking like, oh, I'm gonna fail or I'm gonna mess this up. What's gonna happen if I mess up? Tip number 4 is using reflection tools. So, journaling, voice notes, or even check ins. What did I do this week that stretched me? What did I do this week to ground me? So, a very important thing is journaling, and I'm going to talk more about journaling in a different episode in English because I did one in Arabic. So, I'm going to do one for you guys in English because I think that's a very, very important thing, journaling and reflecting overall. It doesn't have to be like a fancy journal. You could just buy any notebook and just try with yourself. Some people like digital journaling. Sometimes it's just like sending a message to yourself on WhatsApp. Okay, now we're gonna do a journal activity or like a reflection segment in this podcast. So if you have a journal or a notebook or a piece of paper, anything, it doesn't matter, or your phone. So I want you to jot down one comfort zone you are in right now. Then write down one small step you can take to stretch out of it this week. So I'm gonna tell an example. So if you're stuck, for me, a comfort zone these days is having the 9 a.m. coffee and like just relaxing, like not doing anything too crazy, just taking a very, very slow morning. Okay, so I'm gonna take a small step every day, and it's to journal and to do some yoga. This will motivate me to be more productive in my day, and that's how usually my days go when I'm more productive. Like during uni, there's like a very, very fast-paced morning, and I barely have time for myself. So because it's still summer, I'm like slowing down, I'm taking things easy, I'm not pushing myself too much, but I want to do something that still stretches me a little bit, like gives me a little bit of discomfort so I don't lose all the hard work that I've put in during this year. So like, for example, like the stretching and stuff is important. If I'm not doing any crazy exercise right now, I just need to do some yoga at least. And I've got like a small injury in my wrist, so I cannot do something too crazy. It's either running or some yoga. Another thing that I want you to keep in mind is setbacks. So I want you to encourage setbacks as part of the process. So write down what might get in the way and how you gently overcome it. So for example, for me, we'll take that example again. Your example or what you write down could be very different, but I'm just writing down what comes in my head. I'm gonna give you a different example about like the comfort zone. I've been trying to do activities that I used to enjoy as a child, like coloring and coloring books, like literally the silly, like they're not silly, but like the cozy kind of children coloring books. And I used to do this as a kid all the time, and I used to love it. But I don't know why, like when I was a teenager, I stopped doing these things. Now I color and paint as part of my course, like my university degree, but it's not when I do it in uni, it's different when I do it like in bed before I sleep or in a park with my sister. That's totally different. So that's a comfort zone for me recently as well. But maybe if I want to improve in coloring and painting, I can go and buy a canvas and do something challenging, like maybe use oil paint. I'm not really good. Actually, I don't know how to use oil paint. So maybe a challenge for me could be buying oil paint and just trying to do anything with it, like try and learn how to do it. And maybe a setback for me would be not knowing how to do it and failing. But overcoming would maybe be watching a YouTube video and trying to fix However, maybe like overcoming the failure or like messing the painting is to try again. Or so again, like you'd probably have a better example than this, but it's just a journal prompt kind of for you. I'm gonna write more journal prompts for you in the description box. If you journal and you need some prompts, these prompts are very nice if you want to like sit down after this episode and take what resonates with you and reflect back on what I was saying and maybe reflect on what you are thinking about right now. And if journaling isn't your thing, just pick one question and think about it on your walk or commute back home after work or uni or school. So now we're just gonna wrap up. Growth isn't about rushing or forcing, it's about small intentional risks, because that's where transformation lives. Take the step to break from the bubble that you've put yourself in or you've been placed in by family, parents, culture, tradition, religion, whatever it is. Try to step out slowly, even if it's small, it still matters. And I'll be here cheering on you. And thank you so much for tuning in to Still I Think. If this episode spoke to you, share it with a friend who might need to listen to it and take the encouragement as well and start doing the same. And hopefully I can see you next time, whether it's in English or Arabic.